what is when flat earthers are targeting children.
Yeah,
That's what I'm meaning. Fucking Nathan, fucking what's his shove his put up his handle.
No one's getting targeted.
So, I mean, look, listening to Jem and Veach here, guys, it just seems that the argument sounds like, well, God did it, and just accept it. You know, we have pictures, we have videos, and the way you kind of approach the discussion, the way you guys approach the way you guys approach the discussion nowadays is a lot different than before. I mean, now it's more like of just accept it. We've got pictures, we've got rockets, we've got. There was nothing beyond that, nothing behind that. It's just a simple. You're silly.
All the evidence
it's a simple case of you say you're silly. It's not flat. This is what it is, and that's what you should accept. Just like any preacher would tell their choir, look, just accept God. And we don't hear anything from either Jam or V.
What about all
in
the
terms
evidence,
of, well,
Chemo?
this is how it works. This is what it is. And
hey, Chemo, what about the evidence?
But this is what I'm saying. This is what you both do. You both say, well, that's just it. We have it. That's it. It's the end of it.
No,
just accept it.
evidence.
God did it.
No,
it's like
I've never said that in my life.
No, you don't say God did it. But I'm saying
just accept it.
But I'm saying that we don't.
I'm allergic to that phrase.
You're not going deeper in your explanation or demonstration. You're at the point now where
we can only dig like 8 miles deep.
You're at the point now, Veach and Jem, where it's like
we've been so deep that we forgot what the sun looked like.
What it's like now, it's a case of just acceptance.
I don't know. It's something.
We trust these people, and why don't you? Basically, is what I hear.
Chemo, there's tons of evidence. We've given you the evidence. We've given you the arguments.
Well, you're doing it right now, Veach. Is my point.
No, it's not true.
And I think to get, part of the sort of game in flat Earth is to draw people into these arguments about the detail and the minutiae of it.
Yep.
And really, for me, I've tried to be honest in my approach, and mostly I don't know about those things. Eratosthenes I never heard of till I came into this. So those aren't the reasons I believe the Earth is spherical. I'm not being honest if I say it's down to all of those things. But I am being honest if I say that I've seen the southern and the northern stars, and I am being honest if I say I've seen lots of pictures from space. And really, that's the reason why I believe the Earth's spherical.
And you're not
your own observations tell you.
And
also because of that, similar arguments to Sabine Hossenfelder was making, where I've had this information about the Earth being spherical was given to me by people who were reputable, and who I trusted. I'm nearly there. Last point. And who gave me other information which turned out to be accurate. And so it's reasonable to trust what they had to say on it, and to have some trust that there's evidence to support that, without them actually necessarily having to give me all the backing evidence. They can just state
I've been listening to this whole idea of reputable and trustworthy. Well, again, this is what we're finding out. We're finding out these companies are not reputable. They are deceiving us. And what we're saying is that if you're able to show that they're not deceiving us by providing something more than what they've already provided, otherwise, again, it's just a game of trust and just believe them. Why should I not believe them? Kind of case. So that's not really an argument, because obviously, if they're trying to deceive us, they're going to go out of their way to make sure that you are deceived by doing the things that they're doing right now, which obviously has deceived you. So the point is to ask you or Veach, if you believe what they're saying and can demonstrate what they're saying, if it's just more than trust, then you should be able to do more than trust. But if it is trust, then that's not an argument. You can't.
That's faulty thinking. Flat earthers are known liars. So if we're going to be talking about the source,
if globers are in the position of just
you're not going to do very well there, are you?
If it's all about
flat earthers lie?
If it's all about trust, what's the difference between trusting reputable churches who've been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, reputable religions that have been around for a very, very long time? You still question those things.
Nothing. You guys question those too, don't you? Because almost all of the Christian churches will tell you that the Earth's spherical. But you guys say that that's wrong.
No,
so
I'm talking
you
about
don't
the
trust
oldest
those
religions,
people
like
either.
Buddhism or something. So they're
Bible doesn't
reputable.
say that.
They're reputable. They've been around consistently over and over again. They haven't changed their, rhetoric. So, but that's not the way to go about science. Just trusting these people. So,
Right, well, you're not talking about science now, are you? You're talking about religion.
Well, you're talking about trust. You're not talking about
But it's
science.
a fundamental tenet of your religion that it's based on faith and not
But you're
on
not
evidence.
talking about science. You're talking about trust, religion. You're saying I have faith in these reputable companies that give me information. And the same way a religious person can say, I have a reputable church. They have very good preachers. They convince people constantly. They do whatever. The point is that's not an argument. Where you and Veach now, today especially, are of the mind of, well, we've got pictures, we've got video, that's the end of the argument.
Well, actually, I think that often is an argument from Christians. They say they often talk about
there's all kinds of evidence,
the longevity of the Bible and how it couldn't have lasted this long if it didn't have truth to it and that kind of thing.
But
so I think Christians make those. I think Christians do make those arguments.
But you wouldn't accept the Bible, is what I'm saying. In any form of religion, you would say, no matter how reputable the Catholic Church is, you're still going to say, well, that's still religion, right? And what I'm saying is like what you and Veach are doing is saying, well, we have so much trust, I think you should also trust them as well. Why would they not?
Accept that the Bible gives an accurate account of the stories that it gives an account of.
And that's not what we're saying, Kima. We're saying we have so much evidence, trust the evidence.
What evidence? This is what we've been asking for. And then when we try to get into the evidence, you say, just accept it. Just accept what we're telling you. This is the point.
It's not so much that. It's, I give you my reasons for believing something to be true.
But that's not an argument, is what my point is today. It's not really an argument. It's just saying, look, you're an idiot. The Earth's not flat. Pictures from space and two celestial poles. They are both arguments. It's questionable. We can still question it. And you'll say, no.
You can bring in
there are two poles.
Anything that's presented.
And that's it. 2 poles means a ball. And we're like, well, hold on. Well, there's loads to discuss here. What are you talking about, 2 poles? Has anyone ever seen these 2 poles? Is anyone verified?
Well, hold on, actually, you don't say that. Most of the time, you don't want to discuss that at all, and you usually just deny that there are 2 poles and pretend that the other one isn't there, and that's a reasonable position for an intellectually honest person in the 21st century to hold, that there might not be a southern pole. We don't really know what the stars are doing in the south, in the southern hemisphere. That's not an intellectually honest position to hold.
No, again, look.
Why? Why is that not?
Look, Jem, around the top.
Because this is so well evidenced, and you could easily access evidence that supports that to deny it is it's just lying.
No, again, around the top table, you cannot just say that's their position. You can't just say.
You're not questioning it, you're denying it.
Well, for me,
you're questioning it, and you should.
You're not saying, hold on. These pictures of the southern stars aren't what they should be. You're saying there are no southern stars, or we don't know what they are. We don't know if there is a southern pole, or.
And even if we do find it to be fake, who are we to report it to? There's no one to report it to.
Well,
my main point of this is what I wanted to say.
Good question, right?
My main point, my main point of this, Jem and Veach, is that you're helping the flat earthers basically, because when people listen, you guys just say, "Well, it is because it is." Okay, that is an argument like, "Well, God did it," basically, and you're not getting into the the nuts and bolts.
Except that some people who were listening, they recognize that your straw man isn't what they were actually saying.
No, because if someone just says. God did it.
Well, I think I'm helping the Globers. I think I'm helping the people who get themselves involved in these arguments where they are always having to defend what they believe to be true. They are always having to provide, greater and greater evidence for what they believe to be true, and they don't. They don't have to do that.
If they don't want it to be religion,
the
whole point, right?
Chemo, at least we're not doing what you do, which is whenever you have an argument, you always talk about how the devil whispered it to you. And
How the
First
what?
of all, I think that's creepy.
What
And
did you
second
say?
of
I
all,
didn't even hear
second
it.
of
What
all,
did
the
say
devil
again,
can't be
Veach? I
trusted.
can't hear
But
you.
you always trust what the devil tells you.
Veach, you're going kind of
tell-
fast.
Someone can hear you, Veach. Say it
You
again.
tell us that we have to trust. Stop over talking me, Chemo.
Over
You tell us
talking, we
that
can't even
have to
hear
trust
you.
the devil too. I guess just stop over talking, you can hear me. And you tell us
Oh,
that we
really
have to trust the
fast.
devil. Okay, but you stop over talking, Whammer. You tell us that we have to trust the devil too, and that the devil is how you get all the answers. And when you do that, I feel like you hurt your credibility, and that you should stop invoking the devil.
Devil, that's what I thought you said. The devil. Did you say the devil?
That's right. That's what you say.
What about the devil?
You keep invoking him as the reason you know the earth is flat.
What's the devil's name?
Because the devil.
Lucifer.
Why are you saying he invokes the devil?
What about the devil for?
Because that's what that's his reasoning for believing the
brought
earth
up
is
the
flat.
devil?
That's why he thinks the earth is flat. He says the devil told him that.
The devil.
Yes, that's what you said. It was right
Does the
after
devil
I
have
said
eggs?
it was right
Does
after
he have
I
eggs?
said, hold on, let me finish what I'm saying, please. It was right after I said, you just accept it. Just accept it, everybody. That's all you have to do is accept it. Remember how you were saying I said that? Well, right after I said that, you said the devil told you the earth was flat.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? I'm lying?
No one spoke about the devil.
Might be
About you.
mistaken.
Oh. You know what I think? I think maybe you're lying too. I think maybe I didn't say just accept it.
No.
Kinda
You
go
say-
on that chemo
you
kinda
say
hard.
that- You say we have pictures.
That was a really
from
roundabout
space.
way of calling him.
You do not have pictures from space. You do not have video from space. All of that stuff is questionable and needs to be proven to be true. That's what we're saying.
All evidence.
We've
is
shown it to
questionable.
you.
Again, that's
Should be
saying
doing
God
the same
did
thing,
it.
guys.
You're saying God did it. God did it. That's
No,
all, that's all I
we're not.
hear
We're
from you
not.
when you
Look at the
say
evidence.
we've got it, we've done it, we've got
You're
it.
saying
Who's
the
got
devil
it?
did it.
Who's done it?
Just look at the evidence, Chemo.
The evidence,
Yeah.
yes, we've got pictures from a moon landing that never happened. We've got pictures from an
How do you
ISS
know
that
it
no
didn't
one can
happen?
verify. We've got
But
pictures
notice
from
how
the
you're
satellites
talking
How do you
about
know
you're
it can't be
talking about all
verified?
this evidence
got
being in
pictures from
question, but you
satellites
seem to be
that-
stating it in such a
We've never
certain
seen
way that
one
you know that these
satellite
things didn't happen.
ever. So who's taking these pictures of the Earth?
Astronauts are. You heard of them,
It's
right?
highly skeptical.
There you go again, begging the question, presupposing. You can't just
That's
say
not
God
true.
did
We can
it.
observe the existence of astronauts.
Why, Matt? Are you hearing God did it? That's just because. It is because it is, just because.
Are you invoking the devil again, Chemo? Stop
Obviously
invoking
not.
the devil.
He's just straw manning.
Oh, he is he?
So we just have to accept the photographs. That's it. Pictures of Earth. That means it's
No,
a ball.
you just have to look at the evidence, Chemo. How many times do we have to say this?
We have though, bro.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well,
Mama,
what
why
was
don't
your
you
response to
accept
say-
the pictures from space?
What was
They've
your
got
response
pictures.
to say celestial poles?
Well, let's hear from Whammer. Why doesn't Whammer accept these pictures?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
There's just too much faulty evidence, the lack of evidence, really. That's the variable.
For
No,
the
but that is
southern
the
pole.
evidence. The picture is
What's
the
an
evidence
example
of
of
the
faulty
ball.
evidence,
Accept
Whammer?
it. Otherwise, there's something wrong
What
with
evidence of the southern pole have you been shown? What evidence have you looked at? And what do you find wrong with it? This is to Whammer, specifically with regard to the South Celestial Pole.
Go ahead, Merle, go ahead.
You don't
I'm
want to
playing
take that one,
chess.
huh, Whammer?
You don't want to answer?
No, yeah, I'm playing
He doesn't
chess.
wanna
So go ahead.
Oh,
He
okay.
doesn't want to answer.
Good luck.
Chemo, what about you? What's the faulty evidence you found?
1 sec.
All right. It's been once. No, I'm kidding. I won't do that.
What did you say? What?
What faulty evidence have you found? You know, we show you all this evidence. You say you've looked at it. Why do you not accept any of it?
Because none of it is scientific. None of it can be validated with science.
It's not true. That's not true. It's scientific.
But we can't verify it. We can't repeat it with science.
Sure you
You
can.
say,
It's
we
been
can't
verified
repeat
many times.
observations of the South Celestial Pole rotation? Nobody can look at the stars in the southern hemisphere and just see what they do? Are you
Not
saying
without
that that's not
presupposing
possible?
where they are, what they're doing.
No, you just have to look.
No, chemo. All you do is you turn around and look at them, go looking the other way, and then that proves that the Earth's a ball. You just turn around, and it's because you could turn around.
That's it.
And it's a ball.
That is pretty much it.
No, again, that's the point. It's not that's it. Again, that to me sounds like, well, just accept it. Just accept it. No, there's a lot more investigation.
No,
Well, no, I mean,
no.
there is
Examine
a-
it
okay.
very closely. Examine it very closely, and see if you can come up with another geometric shape that makes sense. And you can't.
So it is a little bit more involved, I'll give you that. You have to come well equipped with a knowledge of how optics works and how angles to things fit with geometry. If you know how that works, then there's only one reasonable conclusion to where the stars are anywhere at any given time.
Yeah, but we don't deal with just what we think the conclusion is. Otherwise, we don't learn from that, right? That's not science. We can't just think, well, I think there's two poles, so therefore it must be ball.
Well,
That's exactly what the first step of the scientific method is
about the
hypothesizing what you
That's
think is happening.
correlation.
Here's the only thing that flat earthers can't explain, and you guys say that you explain it because it's a ball, is the sun coming up and setting in the west and coming back around and coming up in the east and setting in the west. So you're saying that it makes a circular motion around the ball.
No.
Correct?
No, we're not.
Well, for me, guys, I think you, Jem, and Veach are helping Flat Earth with this tactic or way you're going about by just saying, just accept the pictures, just accept the video, and not actually giving us a demonstration of what... Because that's how Flat Earth grows to me, is when the ball earthers are not providing simple things that we ask for. So if you say a real picture...
But we are providing the simplest, most accessible thing that you can possibly have. A photograph of a spherical Earth. It doesn't require any measurements, it doesn't require any knowledge of science. It's a picture
Highly questionable
of a
photograph.
sphere. I do not see what can be better than that.
Well, again, those pictures, they could be fake. So because they could be fake, we have to be able to validate them. And if we don't validate them, then we're just believing that God did it, basically. We've had years and years of deception, and now today we want to scrutinize in a way that's obviously never been done before. No one has ever asked for great detail when it comes to these pictures. Nobody. Apart from
It's quite rich to think that this hasn't been investigated.
I'm worried about this God delusion.
No one's questioned the photos as much as we have.
Chemo, you are right about one thing.
Oh, here we go. Go on.
It's never been questioned like this before because everyone else before you has been too intelligent.
Well, I mean, I think everyone was, they bought the lie and they just accepted pictures, rockets, just because they must be real.
Or the other option is you're completely wrong and I'm right.
Well,
Could be
Chemo,
right.
when
right.
did the
We
lie
wouldn't even be here
first
talking,
happen?
would we?
There's always two options. You don't have to be the one that's always right. Someone else can be right.
Yes, you were right, my man.
We could be wrong.
And in this case, you could be completely wrong, and I
be
could
wrong.
be completely right.
Absolutely.
And
That's why we're saying, can we validate
you could be the biggest idiot in the world, and I could be completely right.
Absolutely. We're just looking for validation to show that you're completely right and we're completely wrong.
Well, if you go down and get yourself tested by a doctor, we'll find out how much of an idiot you are, and then we'll have validation.
That won't validate the Earth's pictures.
I wasn't talking about Earth. I was talking about you being an idiot.
That's my point, you see,
He
again.
doesn't want to talk about the actual...
But this is my point. The fact that he's saying, Jem, and Veach still here, he's got a thing. But the idea is that you're an idiot, just accept the pictures. If you don't accept the pictures and the video, there's something wrong with you. And we're like, well, hold on, should we just accept anything we're told?
I don't think you should accept anything you're told, but I think the idea of space is fake is, one, absurd, and two, it isn't supported by any direct evidence whatsoever. Not a jot of direct evidence to support that claim. Nothing. And so, I think that it is reasonable to look at those pictures, many, many hundreds of them, and video, thousands of hours, and say that that is video. They are video and photos of a real thing.
We're seeing way too far.
How about the rover on Mars that's over there filming right now? Do you think that's real, Jim?
Yeah, I do.
Look, Veach ran away. Why? Because he's realising that just saying we have it, we've got it, is a little bit religious. And we kind of need scientific, experiments, demonstrations.
Hang on. Why is that religious?
Because if we say God did it, just trust the plan, trust in the word, trust in the Lord, you would be like, well, that's not really the way to know something. You're saying to
Trust
us, what
in
we get from
Jesus.
Gem and Veach a lot lately is just accept it. We've got pictures, we've got video. What's wrong with you? Why would you deny that?
Well, we don't say the just accept it bit. We offer up our simple evidence. But also, I think it's important not to buy into your epistemology, not to validate it, because I don't think it's valid. I think that demanding. I'm not saying you just have to accept those two pieces of evidence that I've provided, but demanding the sort of evidence that you do demand and the shifting of the goalpost that goes along. I mean, a percentage, for instance, who needs uncut footage from multiple angles of stuff uploaded to YouTube for him to believe any particular concept to be true. And, that's an absurd standard to have. And it's an intellectually dishonest standard to have, because he doesn't actually operate in the real world as if only things that have a video on YouTube of uncut footage from multiple angles are actually true. He operates.
Who would
as
expect those angles?
He operates as if things that aren't supported by evidence in that way are true.
Hey, Jim.
Which is why,
You gotta
Jem, we make
remember-
it very simple for you with a scientific method. Now, if there's a claim,
It isn't. That's just another game, isn't it?
No.
Let me
Another
finish
way
now. Of saying
you just went on for
that-
ages. I didn't say a word. I was waiting for you to finish.
All right. Go ahead.
So, what was I going to say? Yeah. So
it's the same thing.
Science. So obviously, if you're saying that these pictures are real, but they're in a place that is breaking the laws of science, which is gas pressure next to a vacuum, there's more questions to be asked. We have to have science to validate that claim. That's it. We need science.
Well, that's just another part of the same game, isn't it? Saying we need the scientific method and then pretending that quantum eraser's scientific method is the scientific method. That's just your version of uncut footage from multiple camera angles.
And the scientific method is sufficient to learn things about the world. It's a useful method for obtaining knowledge, but it's not the only one. It's not necessary for learning something about the world. You don't need every verifiable fact
there has
to be demonstrated in an
method, though,
experiment.
Jam. Otherwise,
and that particular method isn't the only method either. But go ahead, yeah. Sorry,
but if again, it's not a game, is it? Or like what you were saying, a tactic. This is just normal. This is normal stuff. If someone's saying something miraculous is happening, like a vacuum, and your explanation is, well, we've got an explanation, which is gravity. So we accept that and say, okay, let's test for that. Everything must be tested. As is in the Bible, especially, this is why we push it. But most things have to, everything has to be tested. Otherwise, it just turns into the belief, right?
I don't believe that statement at all.
Look, Veach ran off anyway because he knew how difficult it is just to keep saying accept, because that's not an argument.
Really. We're saying this is our evidence. These are the reasons why we believe it to be true. If it's insufficient for you, well, that's fair enough. But I think you need to be able to justify why these things are insufficient. And I don't think that you can. I think your epistemology is fucked. I think it's a nonsense designed to specifically to reject as much evidence as you can that opposes your fantasy.
I think it makes sense to expect some kind of logical argument when, to validate some kind of fact. But what ends up happening typically is people buy into QE's like Mad Lib's word game, where you've got to fill in all the blanks to a T, have him
Not just
evaluate them
QE,
while you're
man.
muted.
Well, I'm not trying to pile this
Right.
on you, Jem. I mean, it's you and Veach that does this. It's this way of just accept. We've got pictures, we've got video. You're a moron if you don't accept it. Something wrong with you, and you know that's
Because most people would accept something to be true if there were thousands of pictures of it and hours of video of it. Most people would say, "Yeah, that's sufficient evidence for me." And so
we don't have 1
yes,
minute.
You are wrong.
No, we don't have one real
me, at
authentic
least.
picture. We don't have 1 real minute of Earth.
Well, no, see, that's a different claim then, Chemo. There's a difference between the evidence being in dispute versus now you seeming to be making like a certain claim that the evidence is not real, which is a claim that you need to back
Convinced
up.
it isn't, man.
Chemo, isn't it more about trusting there's smarter people than you in charge? Isn't that more what
That's
it's
the
about?
idea,
That
is
there's
that
people
they're
that
the
have the ability
authority.
to do things that you don't understand. You know what I'm getting at?
The people here who are doing the just accept it, it's you, Chemo. You're the one that's just accepting it. You accept that there's this international space conspiracy lasting decades that you have no evidence whatsoever for. You just accept it. What you have offered is some claim about it, space being a violation of scientific laws, and that's something you've just accepted because quantum eraser told you. Nobody else is saying that. You haven't got any other evidence anywhere else, any independent evidence that that space is a violation of a scientific law. It's just you just accepted what quantum eraser told you.
What you tell people, Jim, is that there are smarter people than you that know how to figure this out, and you're just not quite smart enough to get it. And if you were just had the intelligence, that's why these people are in charge, and you need to trust them, is because we've already got it figured out. And just because you can't, you're the one with the problem. This is why we're having a problem here.
It's not.
I think I'm smart. Because I think I'm smart enough to figure it out, and I see none of the proofs that you're telling me that these smart people have for me.
Well, you're saying that I'm wrong, but your livelihood depends upon this principle that you have a certain skill set, and people will pay you for your skill set to tap into your skill set, and so of course. I accept the fact there are people who have greater expertise than me in certain fields. Of course I do that. That's absolutely reasonable. People do that to you. They refer to your greater expertise in a certain field, and your livelihood depends upon it. So pretending that that's wrong in some way, that we shouldn't do that, is ridiculous. And as I know I keep preaching, but I say that this is what makes humans successful, and what separates us from other organisms, that we have this ability to share and pass on information between generations, and to share each other's skill sets and operate so that we all gain from the skills of each individual. And I think that's a very human thing to do. And I think to reject that idea is anti-humanist.
You better start gaining when I tell you you're leaking, and they could be creeping with the bullshit you're peeping.
Thank you for that.
I accept that, but we still understand that there are the haves and the have-nots, Jim. You know that.
Yeah, you're the have-got skills of driving a car transporter.
Yeah, but
I'm have skills of driving a car transporter.
But you can drive a car and understand how a car works. You know exactly what I'm doing, pretty much, to drive.
No, I don't. How many gears has your truck got? A lot more than my car.
I understand. I understand how you. I understand what you're saying. I appreciate you being honest about it anyway.
I wonder what you think it is I've been honest about. It's kind of a bit worrying, that tagline there.
No, that you accept that there are people that humanity as a collective depends on their people specializing in different fields, and what makes the whole thing work.
But isn't that true for all of us, though? Isn't that?
But there are some things do get taken down and changed. That's what Flat Earth is about. Is more about how that the real story or the actual evidence. Because see, some of the evidence was put together before the time that it could actually be proven. It's just like the fact that the Earth was a ball before the Europeans ever made it to America. They had never even went around the ball, but they were teaching people that it was a ball. And what we're asking now is, now that you've made it to America and you're still claiming that it's a ball, we want to go on around the ball and prove that you can go all the way around it. That's basically where flat earthers are at. And you got to understand that you're the guy in Europe in 1500 saying that it's a ball, or 1200 saying it's a ball. And then in 1400, they make it to America and say, see, there is another part of the ball. But now we're saying we don't think it's a ball because we're in 2021 and we want to go all the way around the ball, okay? And that's what you got to understand.
Well, off you go. Go book your flights. You can do a round the world trip, mate. They have them.
Well, this is what you claim.
No. Yeah, but if we claim it, you need to prove us wrong.
Your claim is that I can go around the world. I want to prove that you can go around the world.
So if you want to prove to yourself that that's possible, then you can book yourself a flight, because I don't think you're going to trust some stranger on the. You'll trust your own firsthand experience.
That's in your premise, Dave.
No, what you ought to say is here's your proof that somebody can go around the world.
The proof is you can do it literally yourself. It doesn't even have to be someone else doing it. You can book the flights for yourself online and then just...
We all know that no one goes around the world north to south. We already know that.
They did it 30 years ago, and they did it once last year. I mean, come on, that's enough, Dave. Don't we only need like 2 stories of it happening ever?
And Don, he could even do around the world east to west, right? They do that one.
Can he? Can he?
Yeah. Hang on. Let me
Following
finish.
the sun or maintaining rigidly straight?
I've been around the world east to west.
Yeah.
Following the sun or maintaining rigidly straight, sir?
Yeah, you start in LAX, right? It'll fly around to Asia. It'll then fly through the Middle East, and I think it goes via Spain, and then it comes all the way back around to New York.
Well, how do we know you weren't curving like a racetrack, banking left the whole time?
Well, that's for you to work out, not me, because you're going to be the one making the trip, not me. I don't need to prove it to myself. You do.
You claimed it can be done.
Yes, but I don't need to prove it to myself. I understand how it works.
You can show it, prove
You're
it.
the
Can't
ones.
do it, dude.
Well, no, this is the thing. They won't take it if I do it, because they'll just claim it's CGI or that I don't
this
do the
is
video.
subtle. The goalposts just moved. At first it was, how can I fly all the way around the
Can't
Earth?
do
And
it.
now it's, how do I prove that there's no bank of this airplane flight? Like, do you notice how they're subtly moving to a standard of evidence that requires much more
You
emeraldy?
can do this.
Proof usually works, my man.
He claimed that it could be done, telling David you could do it yourself.
No,
and prove it to
David.
yourself. What if you're
David
wrong?
asked
What if you
how,
can't?
and I explained how, and they do it.
You know what rattle in the cage is? See, when the birds start squawking, like you go up to a bird cage and you shake
Dave,
it.
you asked the question. I told you how to do it. There's nothing more to add to it.
No, all I did was shake your cage, and you're going, the Earth is ball. The Earth is a ball. That's all I'm hearing out of the cage.
Did I say
I don't think either of us did that. I don't know what you're imagining, but it's definitely not what we're saying.
Well, it's
But
a delusion.
think about it,
So
there's still an argument. This is the whole point, that there's an argument that can be had because we're the ones that are in England in 1200 going, no, you guys, it's not round. You hadn't even been around it. No, it's round, man. We're telling you it's round. You got to believe us. And then, no, man, it's flat.
Sure. But the thing that you asked for was, can we, in 2021, go all the way around the Earth? That's what you asked for. And it was provided to you in terms of a series of flights you could take. Then the goalposts moved to prove that there's no bank angle and like that you're not turning constantly.
Well, pull out those videos. We want to see them. I've been hearing about them for years.
Dave, the slight problem you've got there is that it's an equator flight.
See a demonstration of a ball with waves on it.
There is no equator flight that flies around the world, just like there's no north to south.
Dave, it doesn't fly exactly on the equator, but it's classified as an equatorial flight.
You can't fly east to west and go south of the equator and then back north of the equator, back around the ball.
Dave, stop. You've just shifted the goalpost again. I was talking about going around the globe from east to west. Why are you bringing in north and south?
Don't you understand that those plane flights are nothing more than a little puzzle piece for you to think that what you believe is true? That's all it is.
They might also be for, I don't know, transporting people around the world. Maybe it's not all about some massive delusion.
Well, just go.
How mail gets delivered.
Well, go
packages.
Don't worry, those are just secondary goals to keeping the masses silent.
It's the prison planet we're on, guys.
Hey, you guys have to just understand that science changes. This isn't like it's going to be a bad thing for you. It's going to be okay that the Earth is flat, not round.
We know that.
We know that science changes.
Okay, well, the thing is they just they mapped it as a globe, but it's really flat. Does that bother you?
No. It would bother me if it were shown to be true experimentally.
Well, that's
and then it wouldn't bother me long because it's easy that
you can see
if I were
way
to see
too
the
far.
evidence.
We've done multiple experiments. I mean, come on, bro.
You know, Chemo and I and a lot of these guys, we're here to help you, get on through the door,
No, you're not.
It's like you're a handicapped person and you're trying to go through like one of those revolving doors and you can't it's just to that point where you can't jimmy in there.
Dave.
But we get behind you.
You and your ilk have been doing this for longer than it takes to become a fucking tradesperson.
We just understand that humans lie and they deceive, and we actually understand the dynamics of power.
Shut up.
It's true.
As a working
and you're doing it now. Hypocrite.
As a working scientist, I'm super excited to have proof of a flat Earth because I could actually...
It's not a big deal that it's flat, guys.
I could make my entire career on that. I know how to turn that into...
Get your career, dude. It's not that big. It's just where we are.
If there was actual evidence, I could turn that into like a career-making move and win a Nobel Prize. Since I know how to do that, since I work in science.
Great.
The problem is there's no actual evidence.
Whammer, let Chemo talk to this guy. Chemo, do you hear this?
Cup of tea, Dave. Don't interrupt his tea.
The problem is you guys don't understand how science works. You think we want to hold on to certain paradigms, but it's not true.
I keep getting told that.
Science wants to destroy current paradigms to find new paradigms. That's what every scientist who wants to make a name is trying to do.
So why is there so much resistance?
Because there's no evidence.
Because there happens to be a standard for evidence.
It's like the stupidest idea
and lack
of all the conspiracy theories. It's like the dumbest one on the planet, literally. It is the dumbest conspiracy theory
Actually makes perfect
on the
sense.
planet.
Actually, how it would work too with humans, secret societies running things. It makes perfect sense.
When you started hearing us talk about how that we're supposed to believe the smart people, like, see, you're the smart person, and now you're claiming that because I don't understand what you're saying, that I must be the dumb person.
I don't think anyone said that.
No one said that, but you are dumb. So that's
okay. So now someone
thing.
said it.
But not because you're not understanding what we're saying, just because you repeatedly capable.
Goodness gracious, are you in an avalanche?
I know, but what I'm saying is because I'm dumb, I just need to accept it. That there are smarter people than me in charge that can take care of these things, right?
No. We're not saying that. You
just
said that like 3 times now, and each
dude.
time we've told you that's not what we're saying.
No,
Are you
he
done
just told
repeating
me
that
that-
trope? It's kind of annoying
No.
having to continuously correct that.
Is this a
saying
groupthink
that.
or individuals standing on their own 2 feet?
Individuals.
I mean, isn't it ironic that just a minute ago I'm explaining to Jim exactly what we're, and then the guy that wants me to believe in science tells me I'm dumb.
Well, they shouldn't have done that, Dave.
The authorities don't want to be questioned, David.
The whole point of science is to be questioned.
So why didn't they come out and prove their globe?
What specifically do you want them to prove scientifically that we can't just do from observation?
Why are they hiding?
Are they? That's a weird assumption to make. I don't
It's
know
a
any
fact.
scientists that I would consider as hiding right now.
So
Seems
who,
like a strange thing for a scientist to do.
if you wanted to question the globe, who would you go to? NASA?
Why would I go to someone?
So if you wanted to know if it was real or not, who would you seek out?
Sure, maybe I'd seek NASA and ask them for their opinion. Maybe I'd ask a bunch of other institutions too. Maybe I'd do my own independent experiments. Some combination of them. So what?
So who besides NASA?
Any of the other space agencies that claim the same thing that NASA does? As
So
well as
it'd be-
maybe look for some that don't.
Would it be strictly space agencies that you'd seek out?
Maybe not. Maybe I talk to Lockheed. Maybe I talk to Boeing. Other folks who deal with aeronautics.
And what would you require from Boeing or Lockheed or NASA?
Depends. You haven't given me exactly what I'm looking for yet. You just said, who would I ask?
Well, you're the person who wants to find out if the globe's real or not, right?
Sure.
So what would you require?
So the first thing on the table would be, do they have any direct first-hand evidence? Do they have any images, videos, things like that? And of course, that would have to come under scrutiny. The next thing would be, can they give me any experiments that a layperson could do? Next thing would be, can they give me experiments that perhaps I would need more equipment to do? Maybe I should consult, say, a university or other research institution that has the equipment to do so. It's not just a single thing. I'd ask for things around the whole gamut of experiments to observations to things like that.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good place to start. I think the difference between you and a lot of people in here is they think it's all been signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yep.
But at least some people are honest enough to admit that they might need more than the
Like,
authorities just saying
I
it
don't
so.
think- I don't think he just said that. I don't think that's what he said.
No, I'm saying he's different from groupthink. He's
no, I don't
thinking
think he
for
just did
himself.
that though, because you set the scenario up and he entertained it, but he wasn't saying that he needed to go do that.
Well, consensus reality requires unanimous people agreeing on the same thing. Otherwise, you don't have consensus.
Well, I mean, no. I mean, in the whole history of science and progress, in turn, especially when it comes to like heliocentric theory, is riddled with disagreement. Like even for example, between Einstein and the folks who were developing quantum mechanics, right? Einstein didn't like the fact that there was apparently spooky action at a distance. There was no just, go along with it, Einstein. We all got to have this unanimous consensus. That's not what happens. What happens is experiments were done, and the theory of quantum mechanics turned out to be more reliably predicting reality and agreeing with experiments. And with that evidence at hand, Einstein realized that his original conception of it was wrong. It's not a thought experiment. It's an experiment that drives thought.
Why do you think none of the heads of NASA or the space agencies or Lockheed Martin or the military or any satellite agency has come forward to definitively prove the globe?
I feel like they have, Earl.
Would they have a compelling reason to do so on a regular basis?
Yeah, it's a worldwide question human beings all over the world are asking.
No, it's not. It's a worldwide question that a very, very minute fraction of people around the world are asking.
Even if two are asking, do you just kill the two?
No, I think it depends. Well, first off, if it's a corporation, and it depends on if it's in their profit incentive. And second, if it's a government agency like NASA, it depends on what Congress deems necessary for them to do, because the Congress sets out the goals for NASA.
And what do you think all those pictures and video and eyewitness testimony that NASA presents is doing? They are providing evidence for the existence of these things.
No, that's evidence.
Yes, that's evidence. That's how
exactly
you
what
build
Scott
a case.
says.
No, I'm saying evidence and proof.
There is no such thing as proof.
Are not definitive.
Proof is a mathematical concept. You don't get 100%
there's no proof
certainty
in the real world.
in the world. You get evidence. This is why when people say the colloquial term "science doesn't prove things," they mean science can confirm theories to within very startling degrees of accuracy, and it can disprove wrong hypotheses, but it doesn't give you the kind of proof that you get from, like, say, a mathematically rigorous treatment of formal logic.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Well, why do you ask for it, Mo?
Well, I mean,
Because
this is why Flat Earth is growing, guys, because you guys say it's your best...
Why did you interrupt his answer, Kimo?
You guys say it's your best answer and you don't know, whereas the Flat Earthers do know.
Why do you ask for something?
That's why the Flat Earth grows, because they look at the Flat Earth community and they say, well, they seem to know
something. Shut up, Kimo.
They have the answer. And we give people...
Kimo, stop interrupting people, please.
Nobody was talking.
Let Mel
It was Mel, then I
answer.
was just after Mel. Yeah. So the point is
I asked Mel a question, and he was about to answer.
Bro,
and
shut the fuck up and let Kimo finish.
You did talk over him, Kimo. You did.
Mel just finished, didn't he?
No, he did not.
Well, let's ask him. Merle, are you done? Or were you wanting to say more?
Chemo's fine.
You bunch of cunts.
Ask the question again.
I saw it too, Gary. I'm with you.
Yeah, Gary, ask the question again.
No, that's fine. If they're going to be playing this little game, the rest of you can have Adam.
What Mel was talking about proof. Go on, Mel.
If a cop wants a cinnamon donut and he gets brought a rock, he's not going to be happy, is he?
Probably not.
Okay. And?
Flat Earth wants the globe. Where is it?
We've given you plenty of evidence to confirm the existence of the globe. So much of it.
The clock's ticking.
You brought a donut.
We've given you plenty of evidence to confirm the existence of the globe. We've given you so much.
What specifically do you want? Because if I wanted to be tongue-in-cheek and answer your question, I would buy you a globe and then mail it to you. What do you actually want?
We want full proof.
Full proof, which we just discussed, is a mathematical concept.
We want you to show us why we're wrong.
We have shown you so many times.
So with substances, which is liquid, rocks, gas, heat, suns, moons, you can't produce a fucking single one of them.
We have shown you the evidence, Merle, over and over and over.
You couldn't even recreate a solar system if your life depended on it.
Oh, okay, you're right. Like, I'm not God.
I mean, yeah.
Not even a small scale one with walnuts and magnets.
Especially not a small scale one.
It requires a certain size and mass to work.
Mel, can I do a thought experiment with you?
So dumb.
Is that all right, Mel? I want to do a thought experiment with you.
A thought experiment.
All right.
All right. So, what I want for you to do is prove to me that you're alive. However, there are some conditions. You can't use anyone else that's in the house. You can't use your license. You can't use your birth certificate. You can't use any documentation from the government. And you can't use your camera. Now prove to me that you're alive.
Who's talking to you right now?
No, it's CGI.
Your ears aren't CGI.
It's Siri, isn't it?
So Siri.
You're
so
just an
Siri
algorithm and a series.
It's
of
possible
MP3
that
files.
your voice is pre-recorded right now in anticipation of this question.
Find out if it is.
You're supposed
I think I'm just gonna leave it at that and say that it's fake.
Yeah,
It's
you're
fake. It's fake. You're fake. You're not real. You can't prove you're real.
So you can't tell the difference.
That's unreasonable.
It's
So you
not
can't-
unreasonable because every time that we show any evidence, we either get that's not right, that's fake, that's CGI. You can't use that because it comes from the government. You can't use that because it comes from NASA. So it's exactly the same thing. Prove that you're real.
So you can't tell the difference.
No, we don't know
No.
what kind of technology they have.
If you can't answer this, you don't deserve an answer for the globe Earth.
We demand your realness.
Prove to me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you're real right now.
On Discord.
The science education.
Well, you
team
have
to do
Merle
it.
uncut, unedited.
I
and if
wasn't talking to you,
if it is
Timo. Please don't
edited-
interrupt.
If it is a
I wasn't
pre-recorded,
talking to you,
You're
Timo.
interrupting
Please don't
again.
interrupt. I wasn't talking to you, Chemo. Please don't interrupt and keep out of my conversation when I'm talking to someone else because
well, it
that's
is an
rude.
open platform, White Knight.
Yes,
But
yes, but I
Chemo,
wasn't
you're
talking
always,
to you,
you're
Chemo.
always
Keep out of
interrupting
it.
and always Bogart.
It's not
It's
just
a
a
public
one-on-one.
server, like.
Just like Veach is
Come on,
speaking
come
and
on,
you're
Mel.
speaking.
The heat's on you
Yeah,
now.
you get white knighted for all the time.
Prove to me that you're real right now.
On Discord.
Right now. Yes, that's what you're asking me to do with the
I
globe.
think, therefore I am.
Well,
Well,
there you are, my
the interesting thing that I've seen in the time here is what will be provided will be an image or a link to YouTube. Usually, that's the best you've got on Discord.
I posted a video that I put together and you provided.
Duck soup.
And what we require are the substances, the earth
Like what?
substances.
So there you go.
You want me to send you a bag full of rocks? I can do that.
So before I showed some liquid in a container, and the first thing they did was jump on it and say it was gravity.
It
Prove to me that you're real, Mel.
Well, the one thing I can do to prove to you that I'm real, I can put a stethoscope against my chest right now and put it against my microphone.
Recording.
That's a recording, Mel.
Test it if it's
So
recorded.
How about I can invent a word that's not in the dictionary?
You just recorded that.
Well, that means we get automated
I think I've
responses
seen
then, Mel.
some
It
animated
means
movies that have
everyone is a
heartbeats.
recording.
Timo, you're not in this conversation. You can listen, but please don't interrupt.
It means we're all a recording, Mel, if that's the case.
Chemo.
I'm not
Chemo.
recorded until I'm recorded.
Chemo, can you please not interrupt Merle? This is a conversation. You can listen as much as you want, but this is to Merle because I want to show to him the ridiculousness of the level of evidence that he's asking for. So just let him answer.
We turn
For
it
once,
back
it's
on
not about
We
you,
turn-
Chemo. It's just not about you.
We turn it back on you. Prove to us that you're real.
Can't do it.
Prove to us
That's
you're
the
not
whole
real.
point.
Prove to flat earthers that you're real.
We can't do it. That's why you should.
I don't have to. I asked the question first.
Scott admitted it. There we go. Finally.
Yes,
God
and that's why
damn.
you should stop asking for definitive proof.
So come on, Merle. Explain to me how you're going to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are real.
He's not an observed phenomenon either, so it doesn't require science.
Not talking to you, Chemo. Keep out of it.
I'm just letting him know it doesn't require
Keep out of it,
science or proof.
Chemo. Chemo.
He would be an
Okay.
observed phenomena anyway.
Do you
If he
understand?
existed.
No, there's no causal
Okay.
effect here for Mel, so it doesn't require experiments.
Okay.
Chemo, stop with your 5th grade understanding of science for once.
Shut up, Chemo. Honestly, I asked Merle a question, and it's now time for Merle to answer. You keep out of it.
He cannot
Okay.
prove himself. You're asking him a silly question. You can only prove things with the
No, it's
scientific
not. No,
method.
it's not. It's exactly the same question that you ask all the time. So keep out of it, Chemo.
We ask you for
Scott-
science to prove
Scott-
the globe.
Yeah, Scott said that we're not supposed. we're not supposed to ask for definitive proof. Scott just said that there is no
That's right.
definitive proof.
Definitive proof is an illusion. What you want
Exactly.
is evidence.
There we go. There's the
What you
whole
want
point.
is
Now,
evidence,
Steve-O,
David. You want evidence. You want overwhelming and comprehensive and conclusive evidence.
I understand. That's where flat earthers come in and say, "Hold on a minute. That we kind of have to disagree with that way of thinking here, right?" And
Well,
where
then
we're
prove
at.
that you're alive. Show us how to do it.
Okay,
Well,
I'll bring
that's
it back.
what
If I can have a chance. I don't know why Aussie White Knight's been muted, but I was just about to answer him. Give him a go.
Yeah, hold on.
I don't know.
Oh, why did he get muted?
Well, it seems like you have the floor. You can
It's
go ahead and
because
answer that.
Kime didn't like me telling him to keep out of my conversation.
But I didn't mute you though, did I?
No, it wasn't.
Take it back.
Can I just have a go? If that's all right. Won't drag it out. Aussie, it comes back to you, mate, because if you trust your senses, which you have to, and you employ your discernment and your rational and your logical scientific mind, you should be able to figure out if I'm real or not.
That's the best you can do.
Uh-oh. I thought that was pretty good, Burl.
Is that the best you can do?
Well, I mean, he does have a point. You have to be
it
able to
sounded
believe
like a
it yourself.
recorded message to me.
No,
That's how
no,
good
but
it
you
was.
have to be. No, it's a matter of being able to believe it yourself. It's like a little kid when you believe in Santa Claus. You want to believe that it's true, so it is true. But there comes a point where even though you want Santa Claus to be real, you have to understand that he's not. You know, I mean.
Anyway, I think
still waiting for you to prove it, Mel.
Ozzy, I understand where you're coming from, and the main difference between me and you is if you believe the Earth is a globe, you'll never know 100% for sure if it was or not. Can you recognize that?
I've done stuff that has proved it to myself.
Okay, that's fair. Can I relay this back to you?
I don't have to believe other people. I've taken pictures.
Okay. Can I relay back to you that I also know that it isn't?
And what experiments have you done that have shown that it's undeniably, without any argument, that it's not a ball, not a globe?
The first one is water.
Common sense tells you that it's not a ball.
The first one's
a raindrop when it falls.
Well, a raindrop is one drop of water.
Yeah.
It's not a body of water, is it?
But so you're saying that I can't? You're saying that I can't use any pictures that goes against your narrative can't be used because they're fake.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that.
All right. So that means so the evidence of the ISS and the experiments that they've done on the ISS, they've used more than a drop of water.
Okay, so where are the spherical oceans?
What do you mean spherical oceans?
Well, if the Earth's a sphere, where are the spherical oceans? That'd be that would be a tourist destination, right?
The ocean is spherical, isn't it?
The ocean it conforms to the shape of the Earth.
So where are they?
Well, there's only one, right? I mean, we give parts of it different names, but there's only one, and it is spherical.
Why would it be a tourist attraction? It's not like it's not like you can just go outside and see an entire ocean in your.
Where are the pictures?
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Doesn't everyone go to the beach during summer?
Where are the pictures of the people saying I'm sailing over the curve with a selfie?
So that's a bit of a silly question because you understand how perspective works.
Good question.
That's silly, man.
It was silly.
That's your issue. You guys think that's a silly question.
Well, it is.
Really is.
It's a serious question.
Repeat the question, Whammer.
You just said?
Yeah.
Why do we need to repeat it? And who said I asked to repeat it for you? I'm not obligated to repeat.
Because you don't know what it is.
You repeat the fucking question.
As Rizzler has spotted, you don't even know what the question was. You're just disagreeing.
No.
I know, but do you guys believe that if we had a chalkboard, but each one of us had a piece of chalk in our hand, and we were going to write the top 10 reasons the Earth is flat and the top 10 reasons the Earth is a ball, that both of us could come up with 10 reasons, and all 10 of your 10 reasons would be the reason that you believe it's a ball, and my 10 reasons would be the reason that I think it's flat. Do we at least agree to that?
I don't think you'd come up with 10. I think you'd go, we see too far. It looks flat.
Water's flat.
Well, no, you see my point? I mean, you can't even, how about 5 reasons?
I think by definition that would be the case, right? If you're going to write down a list of things that convince you that Earth is insert what do you think it is here, and then ask the question, will this list contain things that prove to ourselves that the Earth is insert what we think it is here?
Where's that geometric horizon?
It presents observably as a lateral plane. It doesn't appear to be moving. The sky is always above me. The sun and the moon are always above me. There's 4.
All right, here's the main point, right? So we both have a piece of chalk. We both get up from the class. The teacher comes up, and we write down our top 10 reasons. You got to understand that there's a person above us that is going to tell us which one of us is right, right?
Is there? I thought that wasn't part of the original question.
That's basically the people in charge are going to tell you which one of the one that says they have the right answers. They're going to say, no, you flat earther, you're wrong. And yes, ball earther, you're right. And because that person has that ability, that makes them the authority figure. And so what we have to do at that time is both of us have to say, okay, we both trust the authority figure to be the arbiter of truth and tell us which one of us is right and wrong. What if that person, the arbiter, lied and actually told you that you were right and I was wrong, or you were wrong and I was right, but you knew that was a lie?
Then so be it. I mean, if they're lying and we know what...
You could see where that could happen, because we could both write down a list and we both could come up with our own conclusion of why.
Mm-hmm.
But there has to be somebody that makes the final decision on that in the reality of the world we live in. We can't both just be right. You see what I'm getting at?
Sure we can. We can just agree to disagree.
Well, that's true. So at least we have... See, but that's
no. Fuck that. If you're talking about
individually you can choose not to.
Exclusive truth. No.
But
there will ultimately be... that's not to say that someone isn't definitively wrong, but that doesn't mean that we should just bow down to someone who decides arbitrarily who's right.
It's like we would consider Scott a teacher, right?
We consider what?
Scott is an honest guy. It's just like he told us a minute ago. He said that there is no definitive proof. There's no such thing.
Right.
Okay.
So
wait, David. He's not saying this is David. Wait. David. Wait. Because I think you're missing an important point, which often is the case when people make that argument that Scott made. He's saying there's no definitive proof of anything. not just of the globe. So to ask for definitive proof is intellectually dishonest because you don't have it for anything else.
I understand
It
that.
doesn't mean you can't have
Okay.
very strong confirmation of a fact being true or not.
Right.
Well, I must be a unique party then on Earth because I'm not willing to live like that.
But you do.
I don't.
That's the problem.
Well, you do
That's the
because
problem
as
with-
we've just demonstrated, you can't even prove that you exist, let alone
I
anything
can,
else.
I can prove it to myself. Maybe not to you on Discord, but I can't. I
there
can't
you
accept
go.
that I'm going to live like
There
that.
you go, Mel. You're asking that we prove things to you, not that we go and prove things to
I don't need you to prove that I'm alive. I know I'm alive.
Right, and similarly,
Mel, you hit
why
the- you
should you
hit the head
expect us
right
to
on the
prove
nut.
to you the globe when you've
You
just
hit the
said
head
that it's
right on the nail.
impossible to prove it to other
Exactly.
people?
And I don't need you to tell me that the Earth's a globe. I know it's not.
Awesome, then stop asking for it. We can move on.
Hey,
All right?
Mel, you hit the head right on the nail. Yes, you are unique.
The server's
Well,
made for.
see, the main reason everybody's here for different reasons. I've come here to see what the psychology is about. That's what I was always interested in. How people's cognitive dissonance, their cognitive bias, what they're willing to hold on to, what they've got to let go of. Flat Earth is no easy feat. It's a much harder path. I guarantee you.
Especially if you live in Australia and you can look up and see the southern stars, and you rub shoulders with a load of people who are quite happy to pretend they're not there, or that they move across the sky from continent to continent. I mean, that's cognitive dissonance, Merle, isn't it?
Well,
you can see that the claims of your fellow flat earthers are false. You can see that easily just by
Come on,
looking up at
Tim.
night time.
Well, I have to give Gem Panda some credence here because when I first came into it, Tim Osman was one of the main proponents, proposing parallax, umbra penumbra, two celestial poles, and the like. I had to look at all this. I had to force myself to look through every bit of what he was stating. And a lot of us came to the conclusion that we're looking into the sky to determine the shape of the Earth. And that was a realization that came from a lot of different people. But it's a fair point, Jim.
Yeah, so looking into the sky for thousands and thousands of years, and we've been able to accurately navigate to specific points on the surface of the Earth using only what we see in the sky, but the sky can't tell us anything about the Earth.
It can tell us about the Earth.
That's demonstrably untrue, isn't it?
What's the extent to which it can tell us about the Earth, then, Merle?
The stars help us to navigate because the stars are central to the plane.
Okay, so if they can help us navigate and tell us where points are, it's fair to say we can get distances out of that then, right? We can tell the distance between 2 points?
I would say it's a stretch when you can see a star with your naked eye to think it's light years away.
Sorry, maybe I wasn't clear. I mean surface of Earth distances. Like I can tell if I'm in position 1, look at the sky. Position 2, look at the sky. I can get a good estimate of how far away they are.
You know when you're exactly under a star? What?
No, I mean to within some degree of accuracy.
Yeah, I mean,
if it's used for navigating, surely it's accurate enough to navigate.
Look at the pyramids. I mean, there's a phenomenon that happens in Australia. It's called the Shrine of Remembrance. And on the 11th day of the 11th hour, it's 11/11/11. So on the 11th of November at 11 a.m., the sun will shine through a prism in the Shrine of Remembrance on the unmarked soldier's grave. Happens every year at the same time, which proves the Earth's flat.
Well, that is nothing compared to the seventh son of the seventh son of the seventh son, I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh shit! I forgot to turn you back down, Scott.
Yeah, there's just no way, Merle, what you said. There's just no fucking way. No fucking way.
No way?
Maybe.
No way.
No way, man.
I know.
No way.
Are you saying
And
the
they
sun is in the same spot on the same day?
Yep.
Whoa.
No.
Does
No
it work
way.
during a leap year too?
Wait. Now that means no way to the Big Bang. Maybe not to that other thing, though.
Here's the problem. Even with all your pictures and all your stuff, my top 10 list of the reason the earth is flat in reality are stronger than your top 10 list. That's the problem that we're having here. And you're still telling me, the teacher's still telling me that my list is not strong enough. This is where we're having a problem.
Okay.
Who is the person? Why do you believe what you believe? Is it because of your top 10 list? And are you validated because a superior tells you that you're validated, or is it because you just believe it? And would that be a religion? Are you then having a religious belief because you just believe it?
No, I would say it's my top 10 list, or whatever the equivalent of that is in your analogy. I don't know why you decided to bring the teacher into the analogy. I mean, I don't know about everybody else in this room, but I don't just look on the internet and read what other people say, and then that's dictating my
pass
beliefs.
the test or not, right? When you take a test, like you have 10 questions, and one of them is for pro flat Earth and one of them is pro ball, and I put all pro flat Earth answers, but the teacher tells me I get an F, and he tells you get an A, so you're validated in your way of thinking, right?
Here, David, I'll go this far. I'll say that my top 10 individually are stronger, and they also don't contradict each other. Can you say the same thing about your list?
That's what I'm trying to explain to you, that in reality, Flat Earthers top 10 list, your list is not even in the ballpark on, you know what I'm getting. It's not even close to being able to beat the top 10 flat Earth proofs.
Sure. In your opinion, but specifically, do any of your top 10s contradict each other?
I don't know, probably so, but I'm not sure.
Well, then how can they all be true?
That's the point, David. If you're saying that you have a top 10, these are my 10 reasons. If just two of them contradict each other, don't you think that would be weaker than if all 10 globe evidences don't contradict each other, but they work together?
We've had all these arguments 1,000 times, and we know that the flat Earth argument can't. There's so many unanswered questions. This is the problem. You can claim
It's true, Dave. I mean, look at this place too. Look at this place. Where the fuck are we? That's the question. That's the deeper question. We're in some kind of Masonic temple. It's fucking real, guys. It's real.
I would say we're on
but address it for a second. Like there's a lot that's been uncovered in this process. Look at Washington D.C. Look at the Taj Mahal. They have a huge expanse of water out the front of them.
Have you been
all the ancient infrastructure?
Have you been in Washington or the Taj Mahal?
My mom's been to the Taj Mahal.
Your mom. That's what she tell you. Does she have
She's got no reason to lie to me.
Oh, she got many reasons.
Oh, so you just trust her then?
The streets are even lining up with bizarre stars, all sorts of shit.
Yeah, I don't think you guys are asking the right questions. I mean, believing in a sphere is fine. Go deeper. Where are you? Where do you exist? Where does all this stuff come from?
I could pull up my latitude and longitude. I'd be doxing myself, but I mean,
you know what I'm saying, Emerald. Go deeper. Like where are you? You think you're in the universe? on a fucking ball.
Milky Way galaxy.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah. Earth in our solar system.
I mean, get a bit real about it. Like you're part of something esoteric and occult. You've had a trick played on you.
Yeah,
in your opinion.
Yeah, I'm not.
There's deep sorcery and magic happening on this earth.
Okay, that's an interesting opinion for you to have. I don't agree with that.
It's actually a fact, though, and I can prove it.
Good. Prove it.
Yeah, he's
for you.
in the same server as Dawn. He does all the magic on this earth, doesn't he?
Let's see something.
With a K. Magic with a K.
Dawn doesn't even have a cape,
And
though.
a J.
He's got like a bowl to burn stuff in now, hasn't he? Doesn't he do that?
I don't know. Does he, Mill?
Freemasonry and the magic and the occult is real.
The proof, man.
It's all real. Practiced. The architects.
Are you a real wizard?
It's definitely real.
You're a wizard, Harry.